This week on The Watchman, welcome to southern Lebanon, Hezbollah country. Over my shoulder, you see the flag of the world's most lethal terrorist army, Hezbollah. Right next to it, you see a banner of Iran's notorious Ayatollah Khomeini, and he's saying we are coming for Jerusalem. This week, you will get the inside story of Hezbollah from our good friend, top Middle East expert, Avi Melamed. Hezbollah has huge stockpiles of rockets and missiles. They're committed to Israel's destruction. They have Iranian backing, and they have major American blood on their hands. Folks, this week you will find out why Hezbollah and what they're doing right behind me here, just yards away in southern Lebanon, matters to you. It's The Watchman. It's Christians United for Israel, only right here on TBN from Hezbollah country. Avi, we meet again here on the Lebanon border in a very unique place, Metula. This is, number one, Avi, the most northernmost point in all of Israel, but number two, and this is what we are going to focus on today, this has been called the most security challenged area in all of Israel. Tell us a bit about Metula and what we're seeing right now.
Metula is this beautiful, amazing community right in the northern part of Israel, and it borders the next Arab state called Lebanon. Actually, when we are standing here, we could see right in front of us Lebanon. And you may remember, Eric, we talked about Lebanon. One of the characteristics of Lebanon is the fact that it is very deceiving. Yeah. Because you look at this amazing landscape. Beautiful, but it's very deceiving. Here is a state that has a government, army, politicians, parliament, political system, and so on and so on. And the state of Lebanon, it struggles for its sovereignty.
And that's where you mentioned the word deceiving. That's where the deception comes in of what we're seeing right now. Tell us about that, Avi.
Lebanon struggles for its sovereignty because Lebanon was hijacked. It was hijacked from within by a Lebanese factor called the Hezbollah, the Party of God, a Shiite Lebanese-based organization. And in order to understand that, we have to see the large scheme of things. We have to understand how this whole chain of links is working, because I'm going to share with you, Eric, and with the audience some very interesting fact. You look at Lebanon, and if you look a little bit to the right-hand side, you will be looking at yet another Arab state called Syria. Lebanon is a massively smoking volcano as tensions are rising within. Syria is already massively erupting volcano.
Syria is a stone's throw from here.
Syria is a stone's throw from here. The future of Lebanon is integrated with the future of Syria, and both future is integrated with the big game that is going on today in the Middle East, and this is the game of the Iranian expansion corridor.
Yeah, and Avi, by the way, this is Hezbollah country where we are standing right now, just over the border here. This is a Hezbollah stronghold, which we are looking at right now. But as you just mentioned, where there's Hezbollah, there is Iran. Tell us about Iran's larger ambitions for the region and right here in southern Lebanon.
In the last couple of years, and this is a process that is intertwined with the disintegration of some Arab states on the corridor, on the axis, from the Mediterranean eastwards, crossing from Lebanon, Syria, Iraq, all the way to the Iranian borders. What happened was, in the last couple of years, the Iranians proactively escalated and boosted the process of disintegration in those three states, Lebanon, Syria, and Iraq, in order to lay the foundation for the establishment of the Iranian big vision, and that is the creation of a land corridor, stretching all the way from Iran, crossing Iraq, Syria, Lebanon, ending in the Mediterranean, where we are going to be later on. And you could understand, standing here, why that vision is so significant for the Iranians, because it's enabled them to expand the touchline with Israel and reminding you, Eric, and reminding the audience, the mullah regime in Iran vows to eliminate the state of Israel.
Yeah, and they want to surround Avi, really, they want to surround the state of Israel like a vise and squeeze it from all sides. And that's one of the goals of that land corridor. And that land corridor conceivably would run right through where we are standing right now here in southern Lebanon with Hezbollah. Tell us, number one, Avi, a little bit about the size of Metula. As we said, the most security challenged area in all of Israel. That's saying something. And number two, and we'll talk about this more today as we go on and we tour, folks, the Lebanon border here, the edge of the civilized world, Hezbollah country. Tell us a bit more about maybe the Hezbollah presence looming over Metula right at our doorstep here.
Well, Eric, this is part of South Lebanon. South Lebanon overwhelmingly is about 160, 170 villages, towns, mid-sized towns, and so on. Most of the population of South Lebanon are Shiites. This is a major stronghold of the Hezbollah, both politically and militarily. There are large also Christian communities over there. You may remember.
Very interesting.
One of the biggest communities in Lebanon are Christians. There used to be time, not so long ago, where Christians used to be the biggest group in Lebanon. By the way, as part of the process of struggling over sovereignty, one of the ramifications in the context of the Christians in Lebanon is the fact that Christians are migrating from Lebanon, like many other places in the Middle East. And if you want to talk about Metula, on the Israeli side, a beautiful, blooming community, couple of thousands of people. You could see for yourself the way that it was expanded.
And it's grown a lot, as you said.
It's grown a lot. So it's a striving, vibrant Israeli community that leads everyday life, enjoy life, yet in the shade of the major threat that we just talked about.
By the way, I'm sure there are some rocket and missile stockpiles over that border not far from where we're standing, aimed at Israel.
Yes, this is part of the deceiving landscape because that beautiful, amazing landscape, the Valley of Springs,
incredible,
in a heartbeat could turn to something totally different.
Yes, it could. Avi, let's go take a closer look, my friend. Let's go. Well, Avi, we had a very, very up-close view of southern Lebanon at our previous vantage point here in Metula, but where we are going right now, I don't think for people at home, I don't think you will get any closer to Hezbollah, one of the world's most vicious and notorious terror groups, than where we are about to stand right now. Tell us about it, Avi.
Correct, Eric. We've been talking a lot about the whole issue of the proximity, how things are so close one to the other. And this is a place that actually presented amazingly. What we'll do, we'll just count. 3, 2, 1, and you are looking at Lebanon.
This is it. So Avi, right now, this traffic that we see, the cars going by, these are Lebanese cars. These are not license plates from the state of Israel. These are license plates from the state of Lebanon. And right across this street, we have Hezbollah.
That is correct. You are looking at Lebanon, you could see the fence, the border fence, you could see Lebanese traffic on the one hand, you could see the orchards of the Israeli farmers on the other hand. The distance between the two is 15 yards.
That's it.
That's it.
And you mentioned, Avi, on our way over, we're probably being watched right now from the Lebanese side. Some Hezbollah guys with binoculars looking at us.
Most likely, Eric.
They are that close. Wow, Avi. And just for the audience at home, just to realize the proximity of Israel, perhaps Israel's greatest enemy, because where you have Hezbollah, you have Iran. I'm sure there's an Iranian presence here as well. It's just breathtaking, Avi, to realize, again, the orchards right here, Hezbollah right there. Walk across the street and they are there.
That is correct, Eric. And in fact, the Lebanese driver are honking at us right now.
That's right. That's right. And we see some banners here of various Hezbollah icons right on the street.
In fact, this is the banner of another Shiite movement in Lebanon. It's called Amal. Afwaj al-Muqama al-Libnaniya, the Lebanese resistance companies. And the figure that you see over there is a very well-known, prominent Shiite leader. His name is Musa Sadeh, originally Iranian, that was operating in South Lebanon during the 70s. He disappeared during a visit to Libya in 1978. Apparently was assassinated by Muammar Gaddafi, back then the ruler of Libya. Musa Sadr is a very mythical figure among the Shiites in Lebanon, but it is interesting to watch that we don't see here openly the Hezbollah flags. We see the flags of Amal, which is yet another Shiite group in Lebanon. Remember, Amal was before Hezbollah.
Gotcha.
And Hezbollah basically take its position as the leader factor of the Shiite community in Lebanon following a massive standoff against Amal.
Yeah, with Iranian backing.
With Iranian
Hezbollah,
backing.
that's always the key. We come back to that Iranian influence. Well, Avi, we are going to see the flag of Hezbollah in our next location. We're going to talk about the strategic ramifications, the security ramifications, folks, for Israel of being this close, right across the street from your sworn enemy. Avi, take us there.
Let's go.
Israel faces growing threats on all sides. Hezbollah, ISIS, Iran, and Hamas never cease their attacks. But God has raised Kufi up at this moment in history to stand between Israel and those who seek to destroy the Jewish state.
Israel's enemies are on the move. As dark clouds gather on the horizon, tell the world you proudly stand with Israel. Be a courageous voice for biblical unity and moral clarity when you join Christians United for Israel. Show your love for the people of Zion with this beautiful symbol of unending support for Israel.
Wear the pin and join Kufi, a movement of over 3.5 million defenders of Israel. Call the number on your screen or visit kufi.org/pin to receive your free pin that will show your proud support for the special bond between Israel and America.
Avi, we can hear and see this beautiful waterfall right in front of us, but again, what a contrast. Right here we have this beautiful scenic waterfall here in the northernmost point of Israel in Metula, but a stone's throw away we have Hezbollah. And Avi, I look at these hills and I shudder to think of a day where Hezbollah fighters could be coming down these hills into Metula.
Correct, Eric. This is a very significant threat. Few words about the Hezbollah. The Hezbollah has been significantly boosting its military capacities, and mostly in the last couple of years. Since late 2011, Hezbollah is massively involved in the war in Syria. We estimate something like 6,000-7,000 militants of the Hezbollah are in Syria fighting to secure Assad rule.
And that's a big chunk of Hezbollah's capabilities, right?
That's a big chunk of Hezbollah's capability. We know that the fact that the Hezbollah, though sustaining massive casualties in Syria and having a lot of loss, at the same time is working constantly to boost its military capacities, looking at Israel. So we are looking here at a very serious challenge, as you accurately noted.
Avi, you figure that Hezbollah is getting significant battlefield on-the-ground experience next door in Syria, fighting alongside Iran, the Assad regime. Russia is there, obviously, on their side. And that all leads me to my next point. Sheikh Hassan Nasrallah, the leader of Hezbollah, has talked about possibly Hezbollah forces invading some of these northern Israeli communities like Metula someday. How realistic is that? Again, the proximity, boom, they're right here.
It is very realistic. Actually, I would say that the Israeli intelligence is based upon the assumption that this is exactly what Hezbollah will try to do. We have to understand the logic beyond such a move. What Nasrallah is looking for is actually to have what he called the ultimate triumph footage. And as far as he is concerned, the ultimate triumph footage is to set the Hezbollah's yellow flag in the heart of an Israeli community. We have to understand the calculations of Nasrallah. Nasrallah right now is loathed in wide part of the Arab world because of its involvement in the war in Syria, because of the fact that he is a proxy of the Iranians.
So he's disliked in the Arab world. Nasrallah, the leader of Hezbollah.
Widely disliked today in the Arab world. He's looking for ways to rehabilitate its crumbling image. As far as he is concerned, putting a flag in the heart of an Israeli community in Israel could be the ultimate triumph footage that he's looking for.
Propaganda victory, Avi. Hezbollah fighters storming right across this border where we're standing right now, planting that Hezbollah flag in the middle of this beautiful Israeli community of Metula. Pictures are taken, the images go viral throughout the Arab world, and all of a sudden Sheikh Hassan Nasrallah is the lion and the hero of the Arab world. He has occupied, in their words, occupied the occupier, Israel, and planted that Hezbollah flag.
Yes, exactly. And you are touching one of the most significant things to understand what makes Lebanon and parts of the Arab world ticks. Yeah. In that context, what I would like you to do, Eric, you mentioned the Hezbollah flag. I want to show you something very interesting. So please take these binoculars and look up the hill, and you will see an interesting sign. And on top of that sign, you could see the flags of the Hezbollah.
Yeah, Avi, I see, staring right at me through these binoculars, I see the Ayatollah Khomeini, the leader of the Iranian Revolution, and I see the Hezbollah flag a few yards from where we're standing right now. Correct. And I see a Palestinian flag, by the way, as the viewers at home can see as well.
That is correct. Focusing on that specific sign, Eric, here is something very significant. The way the Hezbollah was hijacking Lebanon from within was done under the concept of we are going to liberate Palestine. It is done under the slogan known in Arabic, al-Muqawama, which means the resistance.
And the Dome of the Rock is on that banner as well, with Khomeini.
Exactly. Yeah. Because the message that the Hezbollah tries to convey in this signal is two-way message. One is a psychological warfare attending the Israelis, basically saying, beware, we are coming for you. The other message is actually to the Lebanese and the Arab world saying, don't you guys discredit Hezbollah, because Hezbollah allegedly is the one that is going to free and liberate Palestine. So right now you're looking at the territory of Lebanon and you see all kinds of flags and you see foreign leaders, Khomeini, but you don't see the Lebanese.
And you're going to tell us why at our next stop here, right along the Lebanon border, the edge of the civilized world, Hezbollah country. It's the Watchman, it's Christians United for Israel, only right here on TBN. Do not move.
With over 3.5 million members, Christians United for Israel is the largest pro-Israel organization in America. And for Zion's sake, we will not remain silent. We won't stand for the lies and political attacks that threaten Israel's safety and the future of the Jewish people in their God-given homeland. We want you to join us in this sacred movement.
The Jewish people are not alone. Christians United for Israel, I want to thank you for standing up for Israel. I want to thank you for standing up and being counted. May God bless you all. Thank you.
Israel needs you to take a stand. Join Christians United for Israel. Make your voice heard and be remembered as a defender of Israel, the apple of God's eye.
Avi, we are still here on the Lebanon border in the northernmost part of Israel. We talked earlier about the lack of really a Lebanese government presence, it seems, here in southern Lebanon. It seems that Hezbollah, in many ways, reigns supreme. How did that happen?
It happened in the most simple way, and this is the bully way. Remember, Hezbollah, established by the Iranians in the beginning of the 80s, massively armed by the Iranians. The excuse was the fight against Israel. When the Hezbollah was demanded by the Lebanese government to disarm itself, his answer was, don't you dare touching this weapon. This is the weapon of the resistance, meaning allegedly continuing the fight against Israel. And this is basically how Hezbollah kidnapped Lebanon from within. When the time and the circumstances called for, Hezbollah was using this power in order to dictate its political will on the Lebanese government, and to be more accurate, to dictate the Iranians' will.
So Hezbollah, Avi, is the big bully here, the main power source in southern Lebanon. But it's interesting to me because the UN is here as well. We're in a landscape right now where we're standing, where we see a UN presence. Tell us a little bit about the kind of the differences in southern Lebanon that we see right in front of us here.
Well, Eric, if you look right in front of you, you could see three symbols that actually tells the story of Lebanon for clearly the last 20 years, if not more. You see the United Nations military post, and you see the vehicle of the United Nations. A little bit beyond that, you could see the Lebanese flag. There is a Lebanese military base. Next to that, you see the border with Israel. And if you look all the way to the left-hand side, you could see this tower standing there. This is a tower very close to the Israeli border on the Lebanese side that established by the Hezbollah disguised as an environmental watching tower. So you have here three symbols that actually tells the story of Lebanon's struggle for sovereignty. The UN is here because Lebanese government failed to exercise their sovereignty. Reminding you, in 2006, the Israeli-Hezbollah war that lasted 33 days.
Right.
Following that war, United Nations Security Council 1701 ordered the deployment of Lebanese army and United Nations units all the way down to the border with Israel. That's the reason why you see today United Nations deployment here. That's the reason why you see today deployment of the Lebanese army as well. But the major factor on the ground as of now still remain the Hezbollah. The watchtower is a great example for that.
That's stunning, Avi. We were discussing that Hezbollah has this watchtower right on Israel's border, looking out over Israel. Hezbollah, this militant terrorist army. Unbelievable. And this isn't the only one of these towers, Avi. As you and I were driving along here along the Lebanon border, we saw several of these Hezbollah towers dotting Israel's border in southern Lebanon, looking out over Israeli communities like Metula, where we've been today. And the most interesting part about it, in many ways, the UN, as you said, Avi, a UN base is right next to this Hezbollah tower. What is the UN doing here?
Excellent question. The UN is monitoring the situation on the ground, making sure, allegedly, that the instructions of 1701 Security Council resolution will be kept. One of the most important instructions is that the Hezbollah will be forbidden to have a formal open presence in the area stretching between the Israeli-Lebanese border up something like 40 kilometers. That is not the situation on the ground. The Hezbollah is everywhere. Up until recently, the Hezbollah was playing the game and was keeping a disguised presence. For example, the tower that we just mentioned.
An environmental tower.
An environmental, allegedly
So to speak.
watching, sort of speaking. But recently, the Hezbollah have started openly at daylight, basically expressing an armed presence in the south part of Lebanon.
Long before he was the Vice President of the United States, Mike Pence was a friend to Christians United for Israel. Now, he's helping us make Israel stronger and her people safer.
Pastor John Hagee, I thank you for your leadership on behalf of this nation and the Jewish state of Israel. And today, through Christians United for Israel, more than 3.3 million believers have raised their voices, have not been silent in support of Israel. And you can be heard in every city and town across America and in every office on Capitol Hill. And rest assured, the man down the street at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue hears you too. I have faith that with God's help, and with the men and women gathered here, the best days for Israel and for America are yet to come.
Don't miss next year's summit. Join the movement and register now for the 2018 CUFI Washington Summit.
Welcome back to the Watchman from the Lebanon border. We're talking to our good friend Avi Melamed. Avi, I think this is a very appropriate place to wrap up because we have the stunning beauty of this area. This is the northernmost point of Israel's coast. It's Mediterranean coast. But then a stone's throw away, you have that Hezbollah presence. What a contrast. And it's right here on the water. Could be a new front in that Israel-Hezbollah confrontation. Explain that.
Well, Eric, that's correct. We are looking at what could potentially ignite the next military round between Israel and Hezbollah, and basically, to be more accurate, between the Iranians and Israel. Because remember, Hezbollah is an Iranian proxy.
Of course.
The story here is the big, huge natural gas reservoir in the eastern basin of the Mediterranean. As you probably know, there has been huge discovering of amount of gas offshore Israel.
Yeah.
One of the sections, called Field Number 9, is a controversial area between Israel and Lebanon, where both sides claims to have larger parts of the specific field. Yeah. The United States is trying to broker a deal, so far unsuccessfully.
From an American perspective, President Trump has called out Hezbollah. The UN ambassador, Nikki Haley, has called out Hezbollah at the UN. Could that be a game changer going forward as well?
Definitely. That could be something very substantial in the long term.
Yeah.
In the context of what we started, when we started the day, Eric, we talked about the struggle of the Lebanese to try and to regain sovereignty. The very clear position of the United States under the Trump administration, as you accurately mentioned, could boost and support the effort of the Lebanese to regain sovereignty and actually to end the hijacked or the kidnapping of the Hezbollah of the state of Lebanon, but it's a long, winding road.
Yeah, and I think at the end of the day, Avi, the big story here is that Iranian corridor. We talked about it earlier in the show. It starts in Tehran. It ends right here where we're standing on the Mediterranean, on the Lebanon border, right?
That is correct, Eric, and it's a great way to illustrate it. And mostly when you look here and you look at the Mediterranean, and in the distance you could see one of Israel's major cities, the city of Haifa, that clearly emphasized the need to stop this Iranian expansion plan.
Yeah, and again, the entrance to Lebanon is right here behind us.
Correct.
This is the northernmost point of Israel's coast. Avi, what a day. Thank you so much. And what a panoramic view here from Hezbollah country, the border with southern Lebanon, an extreme threat not only to Israel, but to America and the world, and again with Iran behind them. Tell us where we can find your great work, Avi.
Well, you're very welcome to look at my blog. It's avimelamed.com. You are very welcome to read my book, Inside the Middle East, Making Sense of the Most Dangerous and Complicated Region on Earth. And as always, it is a great pleasure, and I want to thank you for giving me the stage.
Avi, thank you. You are a watchman on the wall, my friend. Always great being with you, Avi. We'll do it again soon here in the land of Israel. We'll do it again here with you soon, folks. Thanks for joining us this week from what I call the edge of the civilized world, Hezbollah country. Until next time, God bless you. And remember, never hold your peace.